All the colors of the rainbow are coming together on Gay Weekly Roundtable today to talk to you. Join us, won't you?
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, so much. It hit me right in the feels immediately. Oh, guys, welcome to another gorgeous episode of Gay Weekly Roundtable with Barry Manilow coincidentally playing in the background. We are your hosts. I'm Adam Salandra. You can find me all over social media, but mostly Instagram at Adam Salandra.
I'm Yel Teagle. I'm everywhere at Yel Teagle. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I'm live in the chat. Hello, John and dog awesomeness. Hello.
So talk to us. And I am Blake McIver. You can find me across the social medias at Blake McIver. And we have a very special guest today that I'm very excited to introduce to you. Actor, producer extraordinaire, and also my boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
World exclusive.
Hi. AfterBuzz exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, Emerson Collins.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, guys, that is very exciting. That's a little kind of an exclusive, even though it's not if you're true fans of you both. And People's Couch co-stars.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure the list goes on.
And on and on and on.
We'll talk about you soon. We'll really get to know.
We'll get to him.
We almost got to really get to know you if we chose the more exciting clip from your film, but
You're welcome.
we'll talk about it, kids. We'll talk about it. But first, the news, the gay news. Since we're hearing Barry, let's just jump
We
into
should
it.
start there, right? Yeah. Okay, so in case you missed it, for the second time,
Yeah.
Barry Manilow came out publicly in a lovely People magazine spread of his gorgeous Palm Springs home and his husband Gary, who's his manager. But the backlash that ensued from mostly gay people, the eye rolling, the we knew, the why is this news, blah, blah, blah. When he got married in 2014 to his partner Gary, the tabloids leaked the story. He didn't make a statement.
And I believe Suzanne Summers said it on Watch What Happened.
She did.
Oh, Suzanne.
Bless her.
Five Masters of News.
She was there.
So she had to let him know.
She had to tell Andy, apparently. No, but, it's an interesting thing, and I do like talking about this because I was a person, and I actually tweeted this yesterday, I was a person that got a lot of eye rolls when I came out. Like, you were singing and dancing and, prissing around on television since you were 6 years old, so, like, why is that news? But everybody has a journey. Everyone should have the right to make their own statement in their own time, talk about it how they want to, when they want to, and I kind of love that Barry did this, like, really beautiful spread and this very affirming story. And so what if it took him a few years since the wedding?
He's 70-something.
73.
It's a little different than the generation we're living in now, first of all, if you can't figure that out. But beyond that, why can't there be like a congratulations or like I get if you're like kikiing with your friends alone and you want to make a joke and roll your eyes, fine, but like that was what all the comments were under the stories, all the tweets, and it's like, why are we the ones putting that out into the world? Meaning the gays.
I've always been of the opinion that from the coming out moment, to me, everyone gets a clean slate. I think
Yes, I love
because
that.
we don't know each person's journey, and I think it is not productive to do the should've, could've, would've back when. And so whether it's Anderson Cooper or Jodie Foster or Colton Haynes or whoever, for me, it makes the most sense to wipe the slate clean at that point and say, great, what do you do from there forward? Because the personal journey beforehand, none of us were a part of. And I think it's great to continuously applaud people that were first, that came out early, that came out when it was hard, that came out when it was dangerous. But I don't think judging people for, quote, waiting too long does anything for them, for our community, for our rights process. So I just find it a waste of time and energy.
Well, it makes us all look petty.
Well, right.
I absolutely love that clean slate.
Yeah, I do too.
idea.
I do
think
too.
that's
I never
so
thought of that,
great.
but I agree. And then we'll start judging you from there, and we will.
Right.
Right, and what do you do? How do you use your platform from there forward? Do you get involved? Was it simply a magazine cover? He has a huge opportunity, and I look forward, hopefully he'll be at galas and performing for things. There's so many opportunities with the platform he has, and I think that's the thing to look forward to.
And also, unless you're 15 years old right now or younger, it was likely some kind of, not that kids don't have a struggle in certain parts of the country, but it's easier for them. But for even people just a little bit older and then all the way up, there was some struggle involved, surely, in your life. If not, congratulations. But like, how can you not at least feel for that? He had to be in the closet for 73 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really ideal. I would assume.
Well, and his fan base is primarily heterosexual females
Right.
and has been his entire career.
Right.
So I can understand the fear. I can understand those moments in the 70s and the 80s where it's
Right.
like, what do I say? How do I...
It must have been horrible.
It had to have been terrible.
Yeah.
Also, there have been so many musicians that we all were like, well, duh, but we never were this cruel to them. You know what I mean? Like when Lance Bass came out, everyone went, well, duh, but no one was like, how could you keep it such a secret?
Right.
I mean, I feel like we've been pretty harsh to most of the last like several year rounds, like Lance and Colton and like even Anderson and like Jody. I do feel like there is an element of where activists overlap with entertainers. I think it's sometimes hard for people on the activist side to understand the journey of entertainers who also often act as activists, where it is about your career and your artistry. And certainly many have stood up and been willing to sacrifice opportunity to make a statement, and that should be applauded. But I think demanding that every entertainer always inherently be an activist, they are different career and life paths. I think they
Absolutely.
often overlap, and I think the best of our community represent that overlap. But I don't think it's always fair to demand that everyone devote as much time to activism as some of the rest of us may.
Right. Or to do it in different ways, maybe not the way that you
Correct.
expect it to be done, but what fits your own personal self and brand. I was gonna. Oh, do you think so? You think activists are making the jokes, or they're the ones judgmental
No,
about?
I think the community, funny enough, I don't think it's activists who tend to make the jokes. I think they tend to be the ones who most frustratedly call out people who live in glass closets. I feel like that's a fair
Yes.
criticism, but I think sometimes there's a lack of understanding there. No, I think the jokes tend to just be from petty.
Right. Right.
You know, and I have it. Many of us, it's the adolescent mechanism we created. I was a skinny kid with glasses and braces growing up in suburban Houston, Texas. Like my sardonic, near the line sense of humor comes from that defense mechanism, and sometimes we don't remember to make sure that our targets are worthy.
Exactly, because we're known for that kind of wit in the gay community, and I enjoy that. I mean, it's funny and fun, but yeah, it just goes back to the bigger picture of we eat our own a lot, or how do you say it? We eat our own.
and
We
we
eat
eat
ourselves
no,
alive.
exactly.
And it's a bummer.
Well, and I have not to like harp soapbox, but I have one other thing. The idea of like we always knew, I hate that sentiment because essentially you're trafficking in a stereotype of perceived behavior, affinity, or interests. And I care about that for young LGBTQ kids, but I also care about it for young straight boys who happen to be interested in the arts, who might, walk smoothly, who might have an interest in dance, who might have an articulate love of literature, things that might be stereotypically portrayed as being associated with the queer community. If we assume that someone that behaves that way must be, we also deter straight boys from being willing to be feminism or
I like the
camp.
term walking smoothly.
Yeah, I
want to
went
do a
away for a little bit. It was
demonstrational.
like-
I want to do a demonstrational video on
away.
That light in the loafers concept from the 50s.
So I knew what you meant, but I just started like imagining myself just swishing off into the night.
sauntering down the boulevard.
But do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like it affects
totally,
kids
but
on
I
both
think
sides.
it's a brilliant
Absolutely.
point that, again, I didn't think of. You're very smart, Mr. Collins. But
Well, I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life, and
That
I like to
helps.
think
It
a
does
lot
help.
about where my own issues have come from.
yeah. Well, I was against the anti-Barry talk, and now you've given me even more reason to be. So thank you for that. What else has happened this week? The GLAAD Awards.
The GLAAD Award.
And weren't we glad?
I always am.
Always
except
glad.
wasn't there this year. Was last year. Don't know why.
I actually was just told before we started that AfterBuzz TV was there, and that there's some great interviews up on AfterBuzz TV's YouTube channel.
Last
so check
week's
that out.
guest,
Yeah,
Jay
last week's
Ellis,
guest
was there.
was
the one.
the
Right.
carpet coverage.
So go check
So
those
go
out.
check out Jay's videos.
Yeah.
Yes. But I want to list off some winners.
Please
Yay.
do.
Patricia Arquette won the Vanguard Award and talked about Alexis, which I think is so important because I feel like Alexis gets so forgotten. And Moonlight won Outstanding Film in the Wide Release.
Bravo.
You were just
We're
telling
laughing
me.
because there was only 2 nominees in that category.
And also, can you imagine how awkward it would have been if it had lost the GLAAD Award after winning the Oscar?
I think it would
to
have been
Star
amazing.
Trek?
But
No
also,
offense to Star
I'm a
Trek.
Trekkie and I'm so tortured.
Oh, see, I don't-
I'm
I-
kidding.
You'll be
Okay,
fine.
I mean,
You'll get through it.
It's just funny that they're even in the same category for something, but I've heard actually those films are very good. I just haven't seen
Wait,
them.
I just have to ask a question.
They're great.
Don't ask it, don't ask
Has
it.
Adam seen Moonlight yet?
Actually, I've been I feel literally I got hot and it was because of Emerson, and I looked and I was like, confirmed, this is a nightmare. Emerson knows, but I haven't seen Moonlight.
Still? We've been. This
Adam's
has
a
been
liar, that is not
ongoing.
acceptable.
I know.
We know.
It's just that I know everything that happens, and I've seen so many clips, and I get really
But
bored and
he's
antsy
so
in films.
hot.
Nope.
Oh, that is the thing that will tip me over the edge, I think. At some
Have you
point.
binge watched any television since Moonlight came out?
I can't binge watch.
So you
love
haven't
TV.
watched any 2 episodes in a row?
That's not a binge.
I know, but it's the length of a movie is my point.
Not 2 in a row. No, but those commercials, you fast
fair
forward.
point.
No, there is no excuse. I know, and I don't know why I haven't lied weeks ago and said I watched
should've
it. But
just
I'm
lied.
Still, I'm
You
still
should
here.
have. He's so honest.
Moving on.
Too honest.
Anyway, yeah, continue.
Yeah, so outstanding comedy series Transparent on Amazon.
Wonderful.
What a shocker.
I know, but their speech. Oh, it's not. It didn't air yet. I saw a few speeches because it's on Logo tonight. And it's good. Transparent speech is very.
is.
They always are.
Always,
That's why
but,
they
like,
win.
Exactly, but I liked it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, with a shimmy and
Don't mind
everything.
about that,
And outstanding drama series went to Shadowhunters on Freeform. I don't know if you're watching this
Nice.
show.
I do like the couple together.
They're so cute. It's Harry Shem Jr. and
Dario.
Matthew Daddario.
I think so.
And one's a shadow hunter and one's a
Warlock?
A warlock. I was like, not a witch, a warlock. And it's so magical to see them together.
Literally magical.
Yes.
Literally
Quite
a
literally. One of them's
magical
400 years
gay
old, I believe.
Yeah, and he's
relationship.
had 17,000 partners, and the other one was a virgin. It was really adorable.
Well, I feel so much
that's-
better about my number now.
I feel worse
Like,
about mine.
oh.
I'm like, I need to catch up.
I think I just got re-virginated.
Personally, I wish that that the ship from Supergirl would have won because it's two hot ladies. Ooh, it's Kyler Lee and I don't know the other lady's name, but they are hot together.
But you know what? For me, there's so I don't want to say this the wrong way, but there's more opportunities, I think, for 2 females to be in a sci-fi show because the straight males are okay with it. So when it's 2 males in that type of show,
So
I appreciate that.
I'm going to disagree completely.
I don't watch
Oh,
any of them, so
yay.
please do.
As-
We have a disagreement.
Yes. And it's going to get
As
violent.
The,
I love it.
The resident sci-fi con going.
Absolutely.
I'm here with you.
Yeah,
for
you
this.
both can
I'm
tell
here
me.
with you.
As the nerd, incorrect. Very much incorrect. In genre shows, specifically sci-fi and fantasy, there's always an amazing opportunity, and most every show takes advantage of this like suspension of disbelief that you can have any type of relationship. As you know, my favorite character that I relate to most is Captain Jack Harkness. Now you understand me.
Did he tell you our John
completely.
Oh
Barrowman
no, we
story?
have to tell. We have to tell you.
I've heard the story.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Sorry, audience, but
We all
it's our
have
little
stories
secret.
like that. Anyone who's met him has a very similar story. So he is a character who is omnisexual and does
Yeah.
not care what species you are. And the genre shows are open and welcoming to any character on any part of any spectrum.
I love that.
So
Excuse
wrong.
me. Excuse me.
Wrong.
Well, Shadowhunters won, but
Yes.
anyone could have. I actually do love that. I mean, genuinely love that. But I feel like
Also, sorry,
Yeah, no.
outstanding individual episode was San Junipero from Black
Oh,
Mirror.
like
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Which I was told to watch, and it was the first Black Mirror episode I ever saw.
Oh,
which-
stop there.
Yeah, because it's the only happy
It's
one.
the only happy one.
And at that point, I then started from the beginning and did not realize it was a British show.
Yeah.
ooh, and then that first episode.
Oh, and that first one. Oh Lord, you had a shock.
I did.
How exciting.
So those are some of the winners.
Love
Watch
that.
the rest of it tonight so you can see who won.
Yeah.
On Logo.
On low go.
Yes.
How low can you go? As
Very.
Ross said. I was like, what is that? But that was Ross about the person we never heard from again, by the way, have we?
That person who shall not ever
Who-
be mentioned.
Yes, I love that. Okay, speaking of, that was a feud we're talking about, and speaking of another
Oh.
one, there was one this week between Bianca Del Rio and Candace Cameron Bure, because why wouldn't there be
As there should be.
those two coming, as there truly should be.
You mean my former castmate?
I thought about that later, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, I can't wait to get the tea on this from a true friend.
A true
Although, well, I'll tell you
friend.
what I want to ask you about that later.
Well,
but here's
do
what
the
it is
story
first. Yeah, yeah.
first.
She wore a shirt. She's, if you don't know, first of all, if you really don't know, she's from Full House originally, DJ Tanner. She is a Republican Christian, and she put on Instagram a shirt that said, "Not today, Satan." If you don't know Drag Race and you're watching this, wow.
Why are you watching?
But also, but it could be true. But it's Bianca Del Rio's slogan, catchphrase, name of her show. She puts out. So I mean, did she coin the phrase? Certainly not. But it's known for her now if you know her. So Bianca reposted the photo with the caption like, "If this Republican homophobe only knew." So all the little troll fans, though, Bianca went straight to Cameron's page and were being nasty.
And dragged her gram.
Yes. Grabbed that
all of the
wig and
wigs.
just pulled. So Candace came onto Bianca's page and wrote a comment that from what I heard, I guess she then said, like, accused Bianca of deleting it. So Bianca then posted it as a photo, which I have it. So let's read it.
Yes.
Story time with Adam
Yeah,
Salonda.
yes, exactly. Why? This is what she says. "Why do you have to be nasty to me? You don't know me or my heart. I'm not homophobic and always sad when people think otherwise. Loving Jesus doesn't mean I hate gay people or anyone. You sent a bunch of hateful people to my page writing horrible things. I hope next time you'll spread love and kindness, even when you disagree with people. Sending you love and wish you all the best. Truly, Candace."
All the best.
Yes, but only truly.
Like, is that truthful?
And now, of course, because people are awful on all sides, especially this side, her followers then came for Bianca.
Of
and,
course.
And so
Good luck.
It was just exactly. That was a waste of time.
Luck.
But a battle of the trolls. But let's discuss what you think about this
The
incident.
first thing that I'm excited about
Yes.
is that it's an Instagram feud. It's not a Twitter feud.
Same.
We have graduated.
Because that's I appreciate that too.
I love an Instagram feud
I just-
because
that's
there's
where I
no
live.
character limit.
Exactly.
You can spew all that you want to spew.
I absolutely
True,
agree.
you don't have to read through.
And you can just keep.
I was checking the Alec Baldwin and the guy behind Minnie's First Time, which is a great movie that everyone should see. I was trying to read it and I went, I'm confused with what Twitter is doing now. I don't know where I am. So I'm very excited that we're on Instagram.
I mean,
Love that.
We're doing things. First thing, Candace, bless her, and I do mean that.
Yeah.
Truthfully,
Yeah.
I do wish her all the best.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like, I really do believe she is not as far into the what we would call evangelical, like, crazy as her brother Kirk.
Her brother is.
Nobody
But
is.
that's
Right.
not that's
Truly.
exactly. But that's not saying much, right?
Yeah.
So to act confused, like, I don't understand why people call me a homophobe. Well, then have a better track record.
Yeah.
Like,
and is that the
or
case?
make a statement.
Because all I know about her when it comes to this is that she defended the bakers that. But I'm sure there's
Correct.
more.
But it's
my-
like there's a great example of how to do it the right way. How to say, I'm a Christian, I love Jesus, I also love gay people, and I'm not anti.
Sure, I know-
their
I know
rights.
those people.
Her name is Kristen Chenoweth. Look it up. Just copy paste. Like, she did it. Carrie Underwood also did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it. You
Yeah.
can love Jesus, be a Christian, not fight against
But it
my
has to
rights.
be real.
And that's my new philosophy. Kristen Chenoweth, you're a good man. Charlie Brown, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that reference.
Yeah, really nice.
Well, and there's another piece. You know, there is the big fight she got into with Raven Simone about the bakery, where she
Right.
said it was, well, it's about First Amendment religious freedom, which we all know is just subtext for I don't like LGBTQ people.
Discrimination.
And she said it was for freedom of association, which is great because if you continue that along, then you can just not sell to whatever group of people you don't like, you know, like the lunch counters and things. And then the second piece of it is the interview that she did with Danny Pintaro when he was doing the circuit talking about his HIV positive diagnosis. She spent a lot of that interview really trying to get him to talk about how it was his fault.
Yes, I
you know,
forgot
which,
about
which when
that.
you talk about HIV positive people, that like blaming aspect should not be the priority. Education and understanding and
Right.
destigmatizing, of course, is what we work toward. So you put those two things together and like, I don't really buy you're like, I just love people and Jesus and whatever makes you happy.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying about track record.
Yeah.
You have a better track record.
Right.
I
Right.
have a feeling that it's one of those I love Jesus and Jesus says I should love people, especially the sinners that I need to save type of thing.
Right.
Which is
Not the same
Not for me,
thing
not for me.
as I love people.
right. And she
Correct.
said, like, when they asked maybe if they would explore it on Fuller House, I forget her exact answer, but basically she was like, I'm open to exploring all of today's issues. Like, it was like,
Yeah,
what's
it was
like if
very-
they did an AIDS episode and the Golden Girl, well, even that, of course, was revered and wonderful, but I
Correct.
can't think of an example, but you know, an issue.
It's been
an issue.
yeah. Well, and you know, I'm just gonna put it out there because this is our show.
Please do.
It's there's definitely a weirdness about, like, because I've been very vocal about my availability for involvement as a storyline on Full House, which would be absolutely an opportunity for Derek to have a sexuality as an adult,
Right.
Which we could all reread
For sure.
the episodes and say this is probably a child that will turn out gay.
As many people came
And so there
did
was
to
a
you.
lovely opportunity there. ...
But do you blame Ms. Buer or the Olsens?
I don't at all. I don't blame either.
We need Michelle in there to really be
I
like,
disagree. I don't
I
think
don't
you
blame
need-
either of them.
I don't think so either. I'd like to see you star in the show, but I'm
Right,
just
but
saying
But the way this show is, you don't need her to be there for him to. Everyone's coming back.
You still know people from your childhood.
Yeah, there's still.
Right.
He's still in San Francisco.
and everyone
he's
knows
probably
Oh,
still
yeah, he
dancing and
is.
singing.
I can't post a photo of you or video or this without people like still knowing. And obviously, you grew up. Has it been over 20 years? Yeah, over.
Oh, it's
so it's
well,
like
well over.
I mean, so you were a staple
She tied
of the show.
Anyway,
But
that's beside
because
the
she's
point.
DJ Tanner. I always like. She just seems like pretty and nice to me. Pretty.
And she is
like that
pretty
energy,
and nice.
that
She
energy.
is pretty and nice.
Yeah.
Those things
so it like
are
bums
true.
me out when I hear
Yeah.
this. But it is what it is. I have to be on Bianca's side / my
Obvious.
communities. I mean,
Well, and
Also, she's terrifying.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I'm always on
all
Bianca's
those things,
side.
all those
always on
things.
Bianca's side, and
Oh,
also
correct.
of all of the queens to come for.
which of course she has no
Honey,
idea. But
she has no idea.
She
But
only
like,
did.
you come after a nice queen if you're gonna come. Like, come after Jinx Monsoon, and she'll be like, "Oh, sweetie."
Yeah.
Like,
but
does
like,
she
you
know?
came after the queen of mean,
Literally the worst option.
I feel
and
like
the most revered of all.
And the most famous, so it became even more news
Yes.
because people outside of the community know her.
I feel like there will be 10 minutes on Fuller House and Candace Cameron and Bianca's Next Door. Like, welcome to the show,
Oh,
DJ Tanner.
absolutely.
Oh my god, I love that. I do love that. One more drag waste snippet.
Drag waste.
Gia Gunn, and also a contestant from season 6, who, quite frankly, I loved, came out as transgender on Trans Visibility Day.
How did I miss that? I love Gia Gunn.
I'm shocked that I'm breaking this news to you, and I'm very happy. But she just casually posted a video of it on Instagram because it was Friday that was Trans Visibility Day, and I mean, she said that she started transitioning last year, and she was serving. Are you allowed to say is fish
Tilapia.
controversial now?
We'll just say
I've heard a rumor
tilapia
that-
because she uses
exactly,
that term.
exactly. Fresh.
Fresh
She looked good.
tilapia.
That's just what I'm trying to
I
say.
feel like if you're using it in the lingo that she chooses
Yes.
to use, that then it is
You're
not
right.
a
You're right. She
referendum
has said
on
it,
all
but
of.
she wasn't. Either way, she was beautiful. Let's just say that.
Yes.
But anyway, I think that's amazing. I think it's so interesting to see after the show what Drag Race girls are trans, and we're obviously struggling with that, but
Yeah.
in silence during. And of course, we know we have our first trans openly contestant this year, but it hasn't been discussed yet.
I'm very excited. To
I think
get
it
more
will
of
be.
the
I was
story.
looking at an Instagram live story video thing of Nina Bonina Brown, and when I popped on, she was talking about how she doesn't think it's right for cis or trans women to consider them true drag queens because it's not fair.
Ooh,
Which
that's
it-
problematic.
Problematic, but also I'm like, okay, so that's hopefully going to be talked about on the show because as long as she's still there. So I want that to be a conversation on the show because I'm sure a lot of people watching feel that way, and I think it needs to be
Maybe.
discussed.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting conversation to have, especially.
Totally.
I mean, if you have a competition and you have rules, I think that it's an interesting.
Right.
If you're going to set some rules, discuss them. You know, because like Tyra just got rid of the age rule on her America's Next Top Model thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna have rules, let's talk about it.
On the AfterBuzz Drag Race podcast, Jackie, who's one of the hosts, thinks that if they open up to trans women, then it should be open up to cis women who want to do drag king things. But I feel like that
That's a different show.
it would be a different show. But yes, let's do that show.
Yeah.
But I would think that would be a different show as well. So there's an argument for all sides.
Certainly, but it also becomes interesting when it's like the line doesn't have to move like you don't have to say just because you do one thing, therefore you have to do everything else. Like
Right.
it is a show being produced for entertainment value, and you do get
people do
I don't
forget.
think we have to take like the rules of while it is incredible for the visibility, like that it doesn't represent every aspect of entertainment, drag, it doesn't have to cover every
Totally.
base.
And not to
in
mention,
one show.
I think that they, even in the beginning when it was just gay people watching, Rue said that she wanted to slowly, like she wouldn't bring on someone like Sharon Needles on the first few seasons because slowly you introduce new types of drag.
Right.
So I think that's just what's happening here. Who was the first one to say they were trans while on the show?
Monica Beverly Hills.
When I first
Yeah.
heard it, and I'll be honest, I was much more ignorant about trans community than I am now, and I didn't get it, but I took the time to look it up and figure it out, and understand. But now I forgot what my point was going to be. Anyway, they're slowly introducing these things to us.
Well, it's done a lot for, despite the conflict that often occurs at the intersection of drag and trans.
Yeah.
It's done a lot as a cis white gay male. A
Yeah.
lot of my understanding of the trans community and rights and issues might journey on education started as a result of the big flap with Drag Race several years ago. It made me sort of realize, wow, I know that that's a part of our community, but how much I didn't really know and understand about the experience, the struggles, the rights.
Beyond so much.
And forced myself to do it. But that was, as a grown man,
right,
acknowledging I don't know a lot here. So there is still a lot of education that happens even out of the frustration, I think, with some of this.
So Mr. Henry in the chat says, isn't drag performance art, and therefore the gender of the performance isn't that important?
That's how I
Thoughts?
feel
And
about drag performance.
And I think it's becoming that even more. As there was a time, speaking just in the Drag Race bubble, because obviously there's different drag all over the country and world, but that it was very all about, let's be a very fishy queen. Otherwise, you're a comedy queen, and those are two different things. But now it's just more gender bending, I think. I think we'll see that from Sasha Velour this season. And there's just open to more interpretation. And I think it was Nina, or maybe I was hearing it on the AfterBuzz show, but they're saying like, well, it's not like if you have real boobs, it's not fair, but it's like, up your game, girl. You need to be doing a good job to be on the show anyway.
Well, yeah, and whether you're shading or using a chest piece or have boobs,
right?
What,
like, is a skinny queen gonna yell at
you
Eureka?
Look great in the outfit. Did you meet the challenge?
Right.
Did you?
Sometimes they don't wear boobs
at all. Are
all.
you snatched for the gods?
And that's been a thing in the different pageant systems, like what amount of surgeries you can have, and I think it's interesting when people really want to limit drag to a specific thing for other people.
Yeah.
It's great to say that this is what it means to me.
Right.
There's an aspect of drag that was specifically about men, with feminine tendencies or interests or behaviors, celebrating and arching that. That's one kind of aspect of how we got to drag. Another kind is celebrating femininity. Another thing is over and mocking and letting it be what it is to different people, sure. And then the producers of the show get to decide what they want to make their show about.
Right, which
Indeed.
a lot of the children don't seem to understand that.
It's
but,
a television show.
I mean, I feel like we can all
Kiddies.
say what we want, and Rue's going to do what she wants.
Correct,
Yeah.
and we still like the show, so I think that's working out just fine so far.
I just want to say, as the one with the boobs,
Yeah.
yes, you absolutely have an advantage having boobs.
Well, that's just in life.
But not everyone has boobs as glorious as yours.
True.
I know,
So
thank you.
And
Check
there
your
you go.
boob privilege.
Yeah,
check
exactly.
your boob.
Oh, I'm aware.
Some of us, and she was just making sure we were all aware.
Yeah, I want to make sure you're all aware.
And quite
of my-
frankly, we are. So
Thank
great.
you. Speaking of trans issues,
Yes.
so there is a film that I really hope everyone's heard of called Three Generations that was supposed to come out in 2015, still on
Oh, I
its
didn't
way
know that.
out. Yeah.
Oh.
I've been waiting for this movie for years.
Like Barry Manilow, it's just taken a while to come out.
Sometimes it's a journey.
It's exactly.
It
callback.
is.
Worth the wait. Worth the wait.
So it stars Elle Fanning as Ray, who I believe is a trans boy, Naomi Watts and Susan Sarandon. It's about a child, a mom, and a grandma. And this movie was given a rating of R for language, including some sexual references. The MPAA has given a statement under the Classifications and Rating Administration's rules, the CARA. The Ratings Board and Board of Appeals Board maintain confidentiality, do not comment publicly about the process for movies under review. Any filmmaker who objects to the given ratings can choose to go through the appeal process. So, the Weinstein Company, I believe, the Weinstein Company is appealing this rating because there is no reason this movie should be rated R.
Oh, so it's a transphobic move
Right.
to just there's no
Absolutely.
content.
And
it's
Susan
just the
Sarandon made
subject matter.
Yeah, she made an amazing statement. She said it's ridiculous to have an R rating, which would prevent the audience from seeing this film. And then someone else said, as a mother and a filmmaker, I want to speak to kids, to parents, to grandparents everywhere in a common language of love and inclusion about subject matter that is not only real and complicated, but that is important and alive today. There are kids all over this country that are still too fearful to speak out and to step out. They're too alone to fight, lacking the opportunity, lacking the kind of support that would let them feel free to be themselves. Our story wants to humanize the family experience, to take the mystery out of the secret. I want the MPAA to reconsider the R rating and encourage children to see this story and feel connected.
Nice.
If you are so ignorant to believe that just because a character is trans, it should be rated R, even if, what about the news? Trans issues are constantly in the news, so your kids can't watch anything.
Yeah, but
Right.
what
it's
I
just
Am
silly.
Jazz doesn't have an R rating.
Right.
Right.
It's on TV.
but what kid watches the news?
Well, what kid's going to this film? Even if it's PG.
I think a kid would
if a parent takes them.
Right.
But that you can still do that with. Can you do that with them?
Yeah, with R, you
don't have
can.
kids.
Yeah, so R means a parent can take you to it. I think the idea is that they want kids to be able to go and see it without their parents.
Without their parents.
And
In case there's a trans
Oh,
child
yeah.
in the
that's a
closet that
great
needs to
point.
hear this story,
Right.
and
Yeah.
because you have to be 17 to
Yeah,
go
and
and
those
Yeah.
their
movie
parents likely
unaccompanied.
wouldn't be taking them.
Yeah.
that said, I don't know how strict movie theaters really are with these ratings. I only remember once in my life that I had to have an adult buy me a ticket to a movie, and it was 8 Mile.
Oh, good for you.
I mean,
Oh.
I was a child. I don't want anyone to think that I was a child when that movie came out.
Just like 5 strolling in to the 8 Mile.
Gotta see Eminem.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Thoughts?
Oh,
I thought you-
well, I think it's great to fight the ratings board. I think making
Yes.
because it's a very opaque system and it is very hard to protest the rating once it's been applied. I think that's great. Although realistically, if you're talking about really wanting it to be available in our modern age of like streaming and downloadability, if someone's looking for the opportunity to view it, at least fortunately, with a release with that kind of star power, they'll certainly have access to it, if not theatrically.
Yeah, it's more about, for me, like, how dare.
Yes, the principles absolutely we're
But,
fighting for.
but yeah, I think that's a great point. You will see it either way, if you want to, if it comes out.
I'm so sorry. I just feel like this needs to be mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
We got a tweet.
Yeah.
You go, Candace. That's what's wrong with the world today. Hashtag not today, Satan. I don't think they're watching our show. I think they're literally
just commenting on the video.
Just saw that there was a video and then tweeted that.
Hey girl!
And I was like, I hope
So I
now
want to
she's
give
gonna
a
tune in.
shout out
Oh,
to
bless.
Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte.
Hey Charlotte!
You know, yeah. Bless your heart.
How's your
Charlotte.
web? We all tied up in it.
Charlotte does sound like the right name
Yeah.
for that. Like very peaceful. Let's just say.
I just think Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
Oh, and
that's
yeah,
the,
well, yeah,
that's-
exactly.
It's that Charlotte, then the one with a web.
Yeah.
Like that's the order.
and they both
Yep.
are on Team
That
Candace.
just needed to be said.
All right.
Fantastic.
There's something else though that's
Yes.
similar to gender.
Yeah,
Well, it is
gender related.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Asia Kate Dillon is the name of this actor on Billions. I do not watch this show, but this character is a gender nonconforming character, and I believe that Asia Kate Dillon is also gender nonconforming, and was there. So the show is nominating Asia for an Emmy, and the question was, which category does Asia go into? And after research, Asia reached out to the Emmy people.
Television Academy.
Yes, thank you. And and asked for clarification as to what the actor category versus the actress category means. And they responded. The letter got an immediate response, and the Academy supports anyone's choice to submit to any category for any reason, and is not going to do any sort of checks.
Huh?
And
Cool.
so the Emmy rules for acting categories do not specify gender for qualifications, simply saying for a continuing performance in a regular series.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
So Asia chose
So
to
the
go under
network can
actor.
submit based on whatever they feel the character
Right.
identifies or chooses to identify.
Yes,
in
so
what
Asia
category.
is being nominated under actor.
Actor.
Because
Which-
actor is a non-specific gender, whereas actress is.
I get that.
Correct.
And I think that this is step one or whatever step we may be on, where there's going to be a push, I think, to get rid of the actor versus actress category.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I don't know how far down that's going to be, but
I feel like
It will
we're on
take
that.
forever,
It's-
though.
I know, we might not be
Mainly
around.
because it means fewer categories with famous people accepting them.
Right.
Like, unless they figure out a way
Which-
to make multiple winners or multiple categories, because at every award show, you shit through all those non-famous people for regular people to watch the famous people. Like, I think it's a great
which is
thing.
why.
Do you understand my point?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's simply
that's
like
even more why I
all
want
of
it to
them
happen,
will
though.
wait
Oh, definitely.
Right.
because it
But
cuts
the
the famous
MTV
people
Movie
categories.
Awards are doing something new this year where they're adding TV as well. And they are, I think this is true, getting rid of, I don't even know if they have male or female categories, but
do.
they're purposely doing just pitting random things together. Moonlight and This Is Us are like up against something for Kiss maybe or something. Anyway, so they're starting it. So
They've
it's like-
always done
Yeah,
creative
right,
categories
so-
in order to
Yeah.
award more things
Right.
without
To get more
specification.
Either way, the award shows will always
More
be 3
famous
hours
people
at
present.
least.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So anyway,
I
I'm
think
still
it's really
working through
great.
my anger issues that Viola Davis won a Best Supporting Actress
Oh,
Oscar
yes.
for a Best actress performance.
That she
best
deserves.
actor, actress, best any gendered performance.
Well, not to
in any
mention, I know
film.
you don't really want the best actress to win this year, who did, so like even more frustrating.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue though with getting rid of the categories is now you're having more people in each category.
That's true.
Right? So like we're going to be putting, instead of having actor, actress, we're going to have
Like 12,
performer,
12
and it's
best
12
supporting
people.
performance.
and that's crazy.
Yeah, they'll definitely have
leading
to figure
performance.
some things out. And I'm
well,
glad it's not my job.
get
but
on
I'm,
it,
yeah,
the
but I'm ready for it.
Academy.
Yeah.
Good luck. Love your hair. Hope it
Hope it
wins.
works
Yeah,
out
yeah.
for you. We'll have thoughts
Yeah.
when you make a decision.
We'll be judging. Anyway, can you please share with us the story you were telling earlier about Denmark?
Yes, I loved the result of this story. It begins with a really tragic thing. A same-sex couple of two men in the Netherlands was assaulted really intensely. One of them lost 4 of his teeth for holding hands by an adult and what seemed to be 5 teenagers, or who they are accusing. And in reaction to that, all across the Netherlands, pairs of men and groups of men are holding hands as a demonstration. One, I think, just about male affection, but also particularly same-sex affection. So you've seen it everywhere, from soccer clubs to the Amsterdam police to their representatives at the UN. All these delightful videos of men just walking and holding hands, which is a really lovely national response to a specifically tragic hate crime.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Because we're very aware that if there's anyone who's like, even if you accept gay people, there's like, oh, I can't be like touchy with a man, because God forbid. So the fact that they are voluntarily doing this, and people that in not just like random people, but like police, just people that they're really putting themselves out there, I think that is amazing.
And it's great because, you know, certainly across the world, various cultures treat male affection very differently. Some that are virulently homophobic cultures have very strong platonic
Totally.
male affection demonstrations,
Yes.
and whereas we often have sort of against that, particularly in the southern part of our country. So it's interesting to see such a display that's positive on every level, whether it's about same-sex or just male affection. Like, it's a really lovely, and apparently the two guys are doing okay, and they are working to charge the 6 individuals involved.
Good, get them.
It reminds me of when Caitlyn Jenner came out, and men everywhere started wearing nail polish to support. I think that was really amazing, and I think I want more of that. I want more men doing things and going, I don't know why we're making a big deal out of this. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see more of.
Well, especially if, you know, there's such a thing, if you're a straight white male, it's all the privilege, and but also known to be against all these other groups stereotypically. So it is all the more meaningful for them to step forward and do things like that.
Absolutely.
I think.
But I don't need to see Trump and Pence holding hands on this lawn.
If it's holding hands out of the White House forever.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I would love to see that because I believe it happens.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's an alt fact, everyone.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
Alt fact.
All right. Well, listen. It's time to focus on Emerson.
Oh, goodness.
All eyes on E in the center of the ring.
Just like
now
a
listen,
Sarah,
yeah. Okay. Now you're here most specifically to promote A Very Sordid Wedding.
Yes.
So we have a clip, but first, just tell us about it.
So the Cliff Notes version, my producing partner, the creator of Sordid Lives, wrote a play 20 years ago called Sordid Lives that became a film that we did as a TV series in 2008 for Logo. And this film is the sequel to the original film. Set in 2015, it takes place 5 weeks after the marriage equality Supreme Court decision. And it's about what happens when marriage equality comes to a small Texas town that's not quite ready for it.
I love that. Hence, comedy ensues.
Yes.
And probably some drama, I would imagine.
Yes.
No, but you play a bad boy.
I do. I'm serving my best mask for mask performance as the bisexual serial killer who likes to have sex with dead people and has no testicles.
Oh.
It was written specifically for me. Typecasting,
Typecast.
I believe, is what you call that, right? When it's
believe
when
so.
it's just
That
your
is the
real
name.
life
Yeah,
story.
exactly.
Yeah. So no, Del did write this great, delicious, and fascinating character, and all of my scene work is with Leslie Jordan, Emmy winner,
can't beat that.
comedic genius.
Yeah.
So it involved definitely bringing all that I have to bear to the table because we're not showing this clip, but I did realize as we watched the completed movie that the only moment in the movie where I managed to still focus from Leslie Jordan is when I put my butthole on camera.
So I'm sorry if that doesn't sell the film.
I
I
know.
honestly don't know what
I
does.
mean.
However, you look. I was just telling them you look good, and you look good with all those tattoos.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is very. Let's take a look at the clip, and then we'll discuss.
Roll it.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. Y'all remember that?
Oh, you do look good with tattoos.
Should I? You famous? My precious, precious Tammy was famous. It was her blessing and her curse. Pills.
I'm just a lost soul roaming the highways.
Ah, well, that's poetic. You know, I like the way you look. Rough.
Rough trade.
Rough trade.
I'm genuinely obsessed with that. Like, I can't wait to see it now because literally you too. I mean, I'm sure there's other people in the film.
There are 32 actors in this movie.
That's amazing.
In our tiny little indie film, we flew 24 of them to Canada to shoot for 2 weeks, and then we shot for 3.5 days in Dallas with a special cameo from Blake McIver.
It's true. A very
I love
scantily
that.
clad cameo.
Oh, good. You both can take it all
yeah,
off.
we both took it all.
I love
mostly
that.
all off.
I turned him into a product placement billboard in the movie, so you're welcome.
Which I was fine with because it meant that no matter what, I could not be cut out of the movie. So even if I was terrible, there are 2 brands represented on my person that have to contractually be in the film. So
It's true.
You guys are good at selling
It's
a movie.
true.
Now I'm doubly like, must take notes.
But on the serious side, I mean, it stars Bonnie Bedelia and Caroline Rhea and Dale Dickey, who won the Independent Spirit Award for Winter's Bone, and many of the original cast members from the first Sordid Lives movie. And Whoopi Goldberg did a cameo in the film, which was an extraordinarily exciting thing. She loved Dale's writing and his work, and she drove her bus 27 hours from New York after shooting The View on a Thursday to arrive at us in Winnipeg on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, shoot for 5 hours, get on her bus, and drive back home. Because she really believed in the message of this movie.
Amazing. But wait, why did she drive the bus and not fly?
She doesn't fly. And that's her story.
Oh, so it's extra, mate. Like she was.
Yeah. It was like she and her team and her production company, like her guy, really, really worked hard to help us work this out.
It's amazing.
But it's how you make an indie film with a bunch of geniuses involved.
Yeah.
Is the Dells tells really important stories through comedy, because we're the first film to address post-marriage equality backlash.
Yeah.
The bigots in the film are hosting an anti-equality rally at the church, which is a little ridiculously named, but the reality of what happened.
It's only a name.
Yes, only a name, because the
farcical?
word they talk about, no cakes, no flowers, no photos for the gays. They get up and preach the sermon, and Bonnie Bedelia gets up and speaks in response of her slow journey as a mother to coming around to support, not only supporting but actively pushing and speaking on behalf of her gay son and that journey. And it talks about affirming churches as well. So it's not purely like bashing all bigots. It's not about Christians are the problem. It's about dogmatic conservatives for whom the letter of the law is more important than the people involved. Those people we have not kind things to say to.
I hope Candace watches.
I do too.
And I'm sure she will.
I actually do.
I will tell you it's better than Kirk Cameron
Copy.
saving Christmas. It's definitely better than that.
Well, now we all have our opinions. What I want to know is there is a huge fan base from the first film and the
Yes.
series. Like, what can the fans expect to see that they'll be wanting to?
Well, it's really funny. I didn't think so much about, there are fans who far precede my time with Del in making his work, and I didn't think about how much when you have a fan base that's rabid. The original movie sold 300,000 DVDs for an indie film. It played for 2 years at a movie theater in Palm Springs. It played for a year at a theater in Dallas and in Fort Lauderdale. Like, there's this crazy, particularly across the South, fan base. And Del, we suddenly realized at the premiere that there was an opportunity that you could let down the fans who've loved these characters for so long, and it's been really rewarding to see that people have said that it's even better and more than they expected. It's lovely to revisit the old characters, so it's really exciting. It's one of the big early cult gay classic films, and it's really exciting to be sharing a new chapter of such an important franchise.
And it was very successful in Palm Springs premiere, wasn't it?
Yes,
Can you
we
tell us
did.
about
We were
that?
the #1 specialty box office at our premiere in Palm Springs. We were only on one screen, and we made $40,000 that weekend, giving us the highest per screen average in the country, which is sort of hilarious on only one screen.
and also amazing.
And it's really hard. It's still really hard for an indie film, because independent films that are done by a major studio through their independent film arm, that's what you see at like Landmark and Regency.
Right.
Like, we're talking truly, truly independently owned movie theaters that we're screening at, and it's only because of our fan base that we're able to. It's hard to get media coverage. It's hard to get interest. In in telling the story, I suddenly realized that there's even a young LGBTQ community who doesn't even know the original exists, which has been really funny in getting to share this new chapter. But I'm really proud that what we also managed to do is make a film that you don't need to see the original.
I was just going to ask.
People have been saying that the introduction is really well, and Del worked really hard. It's a crazy Texas family, but you get to know all of them. And so if you love the original, there's Easter eggs and things that will be just special for you. But if you don't, you will have a grand old time laughing and maybe a single tear.
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking forward to people seeing the movie and then like watching the original film as like a prequel.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of like seeing it that way would totally be hilarious.
What was the logo shows? Was it right after the movie?
Sort of like the series that we did for Logo in 2008 actually preceded the original film. It was a prequel.
Okay.
Essentially, the season finale of that one season on Logo happened right before, like the next thing that would have happened is the first shot of the movie.
Got it.
That's
That's
where it
amazing.
ended.
I love it. Well, I can't wait. When do you know when we'll be able to see it? Is it going to be slow rollout? Or?
Yes, we are doing our dog and pony show with it. We're doing a giant Texas tour starting in April. So we're doing San Antonio, then Waco, then Austin, then Dallas, then Tulsa, across a 2-week period. The Dallas theater seats 650 people, and we sold it out in 4 days. We sold out the Austin premiere screening in 3 hours yesterday. So there really is an audience for this. So I'm doing my very best to get it into theaters. So we're working on Atlanta, LA, Nashville, New York, Fort Lauderdale will be announcing shortly, a bunch San Francisco. So more and more cities, and you can see all of that at averysortedwedding.com.
It's really not often that Waco, Texas gets a film before we do.
Genuinely, although it's hilarious because I'm like, hello, Central Texas homos. How do I find you to let you know this is happening?
And they're popping out. I'm shocked. I'm obsessed at the tours of the South for this gay film.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Well, they've been SB6 that they've been fighting there. Like, I'm thrilled that this is our contribution. We always talk about what can we do. At least through our art, we can say something, and maybe you laugh along the way. Like, I'm really proud of our contribution to this conversation.
I love it. And one more time, say where you can go, the website.
We update daily on our Facebook page, A Very Sorted Wedding, and averysortedwedding.com is always updated too, because in our one-man band, I update the website personally. I do all of it. It's all me.
I love
and Del.
Love it. And okay, before we go, and is People's Couch coming back soon, or we don't know what's happening with that?
We don't know. They don't tell us anything.
They're just like it's time.
It's not likely at this point.
Yeah.
We would have been, if we were going to do the spring, we would already be going.
known.
So that might have been it. Our 4 seasons, 57
Guess I'll have to watch
episodes.
TV by myself now.
Yeah.
instead of with my dear friend.
Don't worry. You can always find us on social media, and we'll tell you what we think
no,
about
we will always
everything.
tell you what we
And
think.
speaking of, where can we find you on social?
On Twitter at Actually Emerson, and everywhere else, Emerson Collins.
There's always that one.
Yes.
And where can we find you?
And you can find me everywhere at Blake McIver.
Oh,
you.
hi, I'm
That's all I
Yael
had.
Teagle. Sorry, I'm Yael Teagle. You can find me everywhere at Yael Teagle. That's YAELTYGIEL here at AfterBuzz on the SVU After Show, coming up in like an hour.
Ooh. Yell all night long. Oh, I can't speak. It's only my job.
It's okay. I'm gonna yell all night long.
Anyways, sorry that I... And I'm Adam Salandra. You can find me on social media at Adam Salandra. Please do, and please join us every Thursday for more Gay Weekly Roundtable. Have a good week, my babies. Goodbye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.